Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast, built for real estate professionals that want to work less, earn more, and make an impact in their community. For information on how you can become part of the estate professionals community, visit probatemastery.com. Welcome, everybody. All right. This is the July 8th, 2025 edition of the Estate Professionals Mastermind. I want to welcome you guys in as usual, and I think everybody here knows this because I see a whole bunch of familiar faces. Calls for you guys. This is going to be a chance for you to share your stories, ask your questions. If you're in the middle of a tricky deal, or you had a tricky prospecting call, or you're just excited, you want to share some wins, I'd like to hear from you guys. Same thing goes with questions. Ask your probate and estate related questions. It's kind of a group coaching call for you. To do that, go to the bottom of your screen, click the React button, and click the bar that says raise your hand. I'll call on you guys. If you chat questions in, we are monitoring the chat. But it's always preferable to see your faces, to hear your voices, to get your hands raised if you're in a place to come in with your camera on and talk about your business, ask questions, things like that. So I saw a question in our Facebook group yesterday, I believe, and the owner of that question is here. I did not have a chance to answer the question in Facebook. I planned on answering it right out of the gate here as we opened this call, and that's what I'm going to do. So and I'm not calling anyone out, so no names or anything like that. Someone had asked yesterday, after going through Probate Mastery, what the best place was or what the best actions were to get started in the probate niche. And I'm going to go ahead and imagine that there's probably a dozen other people that have that exact same question. How many of you are like, hey, I'm new, there's a lot of things I can be doing, but what should I be doing, let's say, in the first 30 days? Show me who you are if that's you. All right, what do I need to do in the first 30 days? So the bottom line is, in the beginning of your campaign, I want you guys doing something that's probably the one thing that you don't want to do. Okay, it's really easy to say, hey, put these 10 YouTube videos up, write this blog, go meet this attorney, and the business is going to flood in. The reality is, content online, mail marketing, attorney relationships, those things take a while to pick up steam and to get momentum, and they're really, really important things for you guys to be doing. But you need to recognize that when you go into building attorney relationships, when you send mail marketing out, when you put content online, start letting everyone know that you're in the probate niche, and hopefully you guys don't say things like, I'm in the probate niche exclusively. I don't want you causing people to not bring their regular business to you. But when you let people know that you're in the probate niche, it takes a little while before people begin to think of you as the expert in that field. So the best thing that you can do in the beginning is make calls. Simply make calls and offer guidance to those that are going through the process. And there are a number of very successful people on this call right now who have left making calls behind in their business. They've gotten attorney referrals coming in. They have incoming calls from their YouTube videos. They have incoming calls from their mailing campaigns. And they've said, you know what? I don't need to call anymore right now. This pipeline is producing deals. But for the most part, with a few exceptions, they did the calls in the beginning of their campaign, and little by little they added to their content. They began to be found. So if you're just starting out and you're just not sure where to start, and let's pretend for a minute that you're even newer, you're like, call who? Call who? Go either to the courthouse or go to a lead company and get a list of those that are going through the probate process, a list of those people who've preferably recently, applied for probate. Now, just because someone applies for probate today doesn't mean that they're going to sell a house today. On average, in my experience, it's about 6 months for the average person to put a house on the market or sign with an investor, wherever, however they're going to sell. It takes an average of about 6 months for that average family to do that. Why? Over more significantly more than half of inherited properties are free and clear. Now, it may be the only real asset worth any value with any equity in the estate, but it's free and clear. And because of that, a lot of times that family is cleaning the house out, deciding how to divide personal property. They're setting up bank accounts. They're meeting with judges. They're getting an IRS tax ID number. They're applying for an entity with the state. They're running an ad in the newspaper. They got this laundry list of things that they're taking care of in the beginning of the process. And they've got this house sitting as an asset in the estate that doesn't have a big financial burden on it. Should it be sold immediately? Yes, it should. It doesn't mean that it's going to. So the reason that I call people instantly, immediately, as soon as they go through the process is I want to know what's going on. So when I call them, I'm offering resources and guidance through the probate process. That's the offer. Resources and guidance through the probate process. And I might say something like, think of me kind of like a concierge for everything in with regards to estates and probate. That's kind of how I describe myself, and I put it in a nutshell and then go, I don't want to bore you with a million details. Can I ask, did you guys just get started with probate, or have you been in the middle of it for a little while? Can anyone tell me why I might ask a question like that? Why would I ask a question like that when when I kind of already see the answer on the file? Why would I ask? Anyone want to unmute and just take a guess?
Get them talking.
Get them talking. Yes, get them talking. More importantly, um, I more importantly, it's because I know the answer. So it doesn't matter which answer they could lie to me. I could see that they applied last week and they could say, "Oh no, we've been in the middle of this for a while. Everything's taken care of." I don't really care what they say. I just need them talking, and I need them talking about everything unrelated to the objection that they want to give me. So, what are some of the objections that maybe they want to give you? You're a stranger on the phone. You just said, I have a service that helps with probate. What are the objections that they want to give you?
I don't need any help. I
Yep.
have help already.
Have help
I have
already.
a
Don't need
family
any help.
realtor. There's a million.
Yep. So, I need to avoid, at least in the beginning, I need to avoid those objections. So, I want you guys to describe your service to someone and then ask a question that steers the conversation away from the objections that maybe are a little bit uncomfortable for you. Now later as you get really good, you might actually attack the objection. If somebody's good on the phone, the question that I would ask coming out of my description of services would be, "Hey, do you guys have everything kind of handled at this point?" I'm attacking the objection. I'm turning the objection into a yes, I have everything handled instead of a no, I don't need your help because everything's handled. But if you're not so comfortable dealing with the objection, I want you guys to ask a question that takes it away from the objection. And then a way to shift into real estate, because that's obviously the business that we're all in. I may go at some point, either early or late in the call. It just depends on how it goes. I might say, "Hey, real quick question. You mind if I ask something?" Yeah, sure. A lot of people in probate have assets that need to either be transferred, title needs to be transferred, or potentially sold. Things like real estate, vehicles, things like that. Are there any assets that you guys are kind of thinking about selling? Or are you guys keeping everything in the family? And this is where the truth comes out. Now, I like to frame it under the umbrella of assets, not a house. Not a house. Why? They're getting investor calls going, "Hey, I see your mom died. Do you want to sell the house?" Okay. I need to frame myself differently. I help with assets that need to be retitled, transferred in the family, mortgages, or sold. And then I give them two choices: thinking about selling, thinking about keeping. Now, if some of you guys are in mastery, you know that we probably have a couple of other choices that we can present. But for those that are maybe new in the probate space, I couch everything under assets, and then I give two choices, two options. I want, if they say we're keeping, I don't want it to be a no, we're keeping. I want it to be a yes. You presented this option. Yes, we're thinking about keeping the property. Okay. Matthew, popped your hand up. What do you have?
Yeah, hey Bruce, how are you today?
Really good. How are you?
Good. Thanks. Hey, I do you have? I hate to be a nit, but do you have that script written down someplace? Because I really like the way you had it and it flowed.
Yeah.
Um, do you have that written down, or can I?
Yeah,
Is
that
this
is
going to be
a
recorded? And I'll hire AI to do a transcript.
Yeah, this is recorded, so this is going to
Okay.
go onto the Facebook channel within about a day. For those not in Mastery, Matthew, you're in Mastery. This is in there. So
Perfect.
for those not in Mastery, or if you just want a quick and easy place to reference this, this will get posted into the Facebook groups tomorrow. Um, Probate Mastery Alumni and Estate Professionals Mastermind. This will get posted on your favorite podcast platform probably tomorrow. Typically takes us about a day to get everything up. And this will also go onto YouTube, Probate Mastery. If you guys aren't following the YouTube channel, please go check the YouTube channel out and subscribe. So this will go up. We're 10-ish minutes into the call, so just skip ahead 9-10 minutes and get to this portion.
Cool. Thank you.
Now, in Mastery, I'm loading lessons in as we speak. I'm piling lessons into the Probate Mastery course that many of you guys already have. So if you've already gone through Mastery, let's say even 2 weeks ago, go back in and look for new lessons that don't have the checkbox. And a lot of the prospecting portions are going in as we speak. I think I put a couple of prospecting lessons in there today. And there's 5 or 6 more prospecting lessons that are going in with new scripts. Okay. So if you're just not sure where to get started, I would call and I would have a empathetic, soft conversation, shifting the topic toward assets. And then I would ask that question: do you guys have any assets that might need to be sold, or is it something that maybe you guys are going to keep? Now, the way that I ask that question a lot of times is, are you guys thinking about selling assets like real estate, or is it just too early? I love asking it that way. It's too early because that tells me there's a house. They don't get to lie to me. I'm just sort of assuming there's real estate, and I just need them to affirm, yes, there's real estate. Maybe it's too early. I know that that's someone that's going to come out of my pipeline in 6 months. Is it going to take me 6 months to convert them? I don't know. Might take a week, might take 6 months, might take a year. But I know that person's coming out of my pipeline as a seller sometime in the near future. And I need to figure out who they are as fast as possible. That's why I call as soon as I get a list, as soon as someone's going through probate. I need to figure out what's going on. And from then, if their timing is not yet, I need to give them value over the next handful of months, and essentially outpace my competitors. And that's the ultimate thing, because we know everybody knows a realtor. Most of us know an investor. We might not know we know an investor because investors aren't in your face as much, but everybody knows people in the real estate space. So I just need to take that next couple of months and become extremely relevant to their life. I need to stand out. Okay. Next thing, if you're new, and then we're going to come to, man, I always forget who your Georgia homegirl is. I know your name and it just escapes me. We're going to come to you in just a second. So next things that you should do if you're new, go to the courthouse. Go to the courthouse, talk to the clerk, get an application for probate, and look at what it says. Figure out, is it complicated? Is it easy? What do the families put on their probate application? Okay. Ask the clerk where their public records are stored. I want you putting your eyes on the records, whether that be online or at the courthouse. You may decide to never go back to the courthouse again, and that's fine, but at least get to understand your client's journey. at minimum, get to understand your client's journey, and it all starts with the probate application at the clerk's office. So do yourselves a favor, go to the clerk's office. And last, then I'm gonna jump up, actually, two more things. Second to last, if your court has public probate hearings, so if the court schedules probate hearings for a courtroom with several families at the same time and they're public, go to a court hearing. Go to a court hearing. Hear what families say to the judge and the magistrate. Hear what questions they ask. Hear why judges deny their applications for probate. Go to at least one court hearing. You may like the court hearing so much that you go back repetitively. I've gotten business from court hearings. Okay. So I want you guys going to the courthouse. And then the last thing, write a couple of letters and send a couple of letters out, or at least get 2 or 3 letters where they're ready to go out. Your letters don't frequently make people open a letter and go, oh, I need to call this guy. But the letters reinforce that call that you're making. So I would want to have a couple of letters at minimum going out and some calls going. And after that, we can get really complicated with this business in a good way. But you don't need to add the complication if you're new. Just do those couple of things and you'll get business. All right. Your Georgia homegirl. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Bruce.
Hey.
Hey, my name is Kendra.
Kendra. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure you've told me that before, but
That's okay.
don't remember it. Okay.
That's okay. So you frame everything under the umbrella of assets. So, which I like, because then you're not just coming out, like with real estate breath, right? So in the event that they do have other assets in addition to property, how would you handle that? I mean, starting out, I don't know, and I'm building my vendor list. Can who would I add to the list who like maybe sells cars or boats or other assets like that?
Yep. There are auto brokers in most mid-size and large markets. There's auto brokers. There are typically also hundreds of car flippers. They're a little harder to find because they might not be advertising, but there's hundreds of car flippers in any given market. They just want to flip. They want to make a little bit of a profit on 4 or 5 cars a year. You may want to do that, by the way. I've made some really good income turning cars around, going in and saying, hey, Blue Book says on this car that it's worth about $9,000. You got to take it to a dealership, multiple dealerships, and do all this. I could take care of it right now for $7,500, and it's not the world's most lucrative business, but I can tell you, it's an amazing entry into the real estate. If they sold you a car, they're probably going to give you a chance to talk about real estate too. So normally if I do a car, it's more of a loss leader. Now I won't lose money on a car, but I'll be glad to make $500 on a car if it gets me face to face with the seller. So get a couple of dealerships that like to take in trades. Not every most dealerships want to sell their inventory. Some dealerships are low on inventory. So set up a meeting or two with buying managers at several different dealerships around town and see what kind of vehicles they're looking for. You can always take these vehicles straight to them, either buy it yourself and take it to them, make your profit, or just take the car to them directly. So I would find car buyers that way. I'd find a couple of antique buyers. So go in the antique shops. Beyond that, maybe an estate sale company. Well, definitely an estate sale company, and potentially an art dealer or art buyer. So a lot of times I just take care of things like that. Sometimes I'll even make offers on those personal property items. If it depends on the money that I have. So it's nice to have a little bit of a war chest for being able to make offers on assets that need to be flipped really quickly. Great way to do that. For those of you with amazing credit, You could set up a separate business for just buying small personal property assets. I don't care what you call it. You could go and open up a bank account with one of the big banks and get a line of credit or a 0% interest credit card for 12 months. Don't use it until it's time to flip an asset. A line of credit doesn't come with 0%, but you can sit on $50,000 or $100,000 in a line of credit that's not costing you anything to just sit there, and now you don't have to come out of pocket. You find a car that you're going to make $1,000 on. I can pull from that line of credit, sell the car real quick, put the money right back in for pretty small interest. Did that help, Kendra?
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Asghar, how are you?
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. That was me, who posted that in the Facebook.
I didn't want to call you out. I didn't know. I figured you'd be fine if I said who it was, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you for answering the questions. So I have like a few more questions that I want to take your opinion. The first one is that when we provide like small services like taking care of the yard or changing the locks or stuff like that, who pay for these services, and if we pay, do we get reimbursed after at the end of the probate or no?
Sure. Man, this can be handled so many different ways. It really depends on you and your business. Okay. First off, I want everyone to know we're offering a myriad of different services to help them through probate. It doesn't mean that they're going to take those services. So, one of the holdups that I see people have in this space is they go, man, I'm going to lose all my time. It's going to cost me a boatload of money. I'm going to call and someone's going to say, Asghar, thank you so much for calling me. I need the grass cut, the locks changed. Somebody's got to come clean this house out. My gutters are leaking. I need to coordinate an estate sale. I can't believe you called and offered this. Oh, by the way, I'm going to sell a house in 6 months, but I need you to carry all that expense. That doesn't happen. Okay. For the most part, we're offering the comprehensive full suite of services because it really softens the relationship up. I normally don't get those services until months after I've started the dialogue with someone. It's normally after I've gone to see the house. They've seen me face to face. On the phone, some, but very few people on the phone ask me to coordinate the services for them. I'm still offering the services, but very few people, until I have a strong relationship with them, very few people ask me to coordinate anything. The way that it normally works is I've offered the services, they go, you're not like the other people that are just trying to buy the house. I like you. At least I like you. I don't need those right now, but at least I like you. A month, 2 months later, I get an appointment to see the house. And normally that appointment to see the house is normally because I've said, I know you're not ready yet. Let me give you an estimate of what the value will be when you are ready. That's normally the way I get into the house. I know you're not ready yet. Let me give you an estimate of what the value would be when you are ready. And they go, okay. Do you think I could see the house for 10 minutes this week? And then I get a face-to-face. Okay. That's my opportunity to build rapport. We're face-to-face. They see me. We're talking. We like each other. And then while I'm there, I go, I noticed that the locks aren't very secure. I noticed that you've got trees growing out of your gutters. I bet it's a pain for you to drive up here every week and cut the grass, right? What if I just took care of that for you? So those services typically come out of an appointment where I'm building serious rapport. And then it's really up to you and your business model. My business model is, hey, I'll cover this. You pay me back when the house sells or the estate closes. Okay. Other people's business model is, hey, my coordination is free. I don't charge you anything to basically play concierge. I'm going to get you the best quotes from the best vendors that I can. And then together we'll discuss which ones you hire. So some people say, you're going to hire them. I'm going to help you find the most affordable, best vendor. And I'm not going to charge you for finding that vendor and coordinating it for you. Other people, third option is you're going to hire me for $3,000. I just made that number up. You're going to hire me for $3,000 and I'm going to coordinate all this for you. And I'm going to consult with you and help. And together we're going to pick the best vendors to take care of these things. And my fee for coordinating that is 500, 1,000, 3,000, something like that. And if I buy or list the house, I'll credit that money back to you. So there's literally dozens of ways that you guys can go about offering these services and getting compensated for the services. I normally don't ask for compensation for those things. I'll just take care of a certain amount without much because I know that I'm going to lock that relationship down and I'm typically going to land that deal if I build that level of trust with them. They're coming to me for the real estate. I don't want you guys to be fooled into thinking that I do that for every single person out there. I do that when I know that there's a house sale. If I don't, if I know that there's no house sale, I'm still going to help. I might not be quite as heavily involved. I might not meet vendors there. I'll say, here's a quick email introduction. This is the estate sale company that I'd use. This is the clean out company I'd use. And then I may take a little step back if I don't think that there's a real estate deal. So you could do it so many different ways. You want to cover their expenses for them? Be my guest. Don't go broke. I do it as a loss leader because I'm going to get that business later. Okay. I'm building a relationship. You could charge them. You could tell them that you're going to coordinate the services and help them pick the best price, but they're paying it. It's up to you. Sorry to give you so many choices. Sometimes choices drive people crazy. You just want the do it this way. I don't know your financial situation, so I don't want to say pay for things that you haven't earned money back yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
What else?
Yeah, another question is that, like, for example, I call somebody and they, they tell me, that they don't need my services and they're not happy with me or whatever. So should I call them again, like after a month or so, or should I, just stop calling them?
Yeah, I want to deal with the root of that response. So the root of that response, are they telling you the truth or are they lying to get rid of you? Or do they need those services and they don't know it yet? If they need the services and don't know it yet, call them back in a month. They won't remember you. If you think they're telling the truth, you just figured out where to not spend your energy and money and time. If you're getting that from too many people, it means you're setting it up. You're causing them to say, I don't need your services as an objection. So let's go back to the very beginning of this call. If I'm getting too many people that say, I don't need your services, I want to hear the tone that they use when they say that. Most of the time, if it's an objection, it sounds like this. No, I don't need that. I've got everything handled. So it's a no, I don't need that. I have everything handled. If they're going to say it anyway, I would much rather turn it into a yes, I don't need that. I have things covered. How do I do that? Describe my services, and then I'll say, do you guys have everything covered as of today? Or is there anything that you could use some help with? And they go, yes, I have everything covered today. And it gives me the chance to say, perfect. Sounds like you've got things under control. I'll tell you what, let me shoot you over some resources. I want you to do me a favor. If there's anything that comes up on that list of services or resources that you need in the future, I want you to call me. Is that okay? And they say, yes, that's okay. Now, at minimum, I've got a chance to put something in their hands. I've now turned controversy, conflict, I've turned that conflict into conversation, and I can change the subject on that call too. Now I can start asking questions because I've turned what would have been, no, I don't need anything, goodbye, click. I've turned it into a, yes, I have everything handled right now. And then I can move on with the call. I can deal with other things. So when they say that, are they telling the truth? There's absolutely nothing there, or are they just putting you off? I think they're just putting you off. And they're either lying to you or they have no idea that they need anything right now. Change the way that that conversation happens. Even if they're going to say, I don't need anything, make it a, yes, I don't need anything right now. Because that leaves the door open for later. And it also leaves you room to kind of deepen the conversation with them today, to go into different topics today. If you're completely uncomfortable with, no, I don't need anything, if that's something that you're just really uncomfortable with, don't let them get there. Ask a question completely unrelated. If I asked you, hey, did you guys just recently apply for probate or was this several months ago? You're not going to go, my attorney's got it all handled, goodbye. You're not going to say that because it's off topic. So if you're completely uncomfortable dealing with their resistance, ask a question that goes around the resistance. So I would probably come up with questions, a handful of questions that you can ask that completely avoid the objection that maybe you're not comfortable getting right now.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Yeah. One more question.
Okay.
So, see, I need to have my website. So, I was thinking of going to like a ATL. So, what is your opinion? Is there, is that a good choice or is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, good choice. Good choice. Good websites. It's going to be templated, but nobody knows that. Your consumer doesn't know that. Um, if if uh, if you give them your website and they go to it, they're not going to go, "Oh man, I saw someone else in a different market completely with a website that looks like yours." They're not going to know. So at least it legitimizes you if they go check you out. And that's the only thing that I want is when somebody goes and looks me up, I want to look legitimate. And that website is ATL, all the leads. They do probate leads as well, but they've got websites, credibility websites for you, and you can customize the website too. So get your login information. It's WordPress based. You can add your blogs and videos and things like that to it and customize it as much as you want. Most people don't and don't need to customize it because it does its job out of the box.
Somebody, mentioned batch leads to me. So, have you heard about batch leads or,
Yeah,
are,
absolutely.
are they also good?
I like batch leads. I do not like online um, data scrubbers, which is basically what batch leads is for probate. It's essentially an algorithm collecting um, probate leads that may not really be collectible if you're not going into a court system. So algorithms, I've found batch leads, PropStream, companies like them don't do a very good job. Now they may have gotten better. It's been a year or so since I checked them out, but they don't do a very good job of giving me accurate probate data. They may give me obituary records, and then I have to do a lot of research to figure out if there's probate, if there's real estate. I got to do a lot of background on it. So I'd rather get my leads from a company that goes into the courthouse and looks at probate records.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Drew, you're next.
Hey Bruce,
How's it going?
doing well. Been making my phone calls, got a few appointments, and I came across a lady. I was hoping you could help me with her situation. Just trying to help her out. And she has a pretty nice house in my market. Her fiance actually passed away. They both are on the deed, and she can't afford the house, the mortgage payment. And it's a typical house with the elderly lady, border conditions, but the bones of the house are really good. It's just that she hired an attorney because the sister of her fiance at the time is contesting it, saying that she's entitled to half of it. I'm just wondering if you could point me in the right direction here
Yep.
at all.
Have you seen the deed?
Yes.
Is it rights of survivorship or is it joint tenants with joint tenancy, basically?
Tenants in common, Bruce.
Tenants in common. Thank you, Matthew. I don't know why that was
Yeah,
escaping.
you know what? I don't remember, but I did take a look at the deed. I just can't remember.
Yeah. You need to figure out if it's tenants in common or rights of survivorship. And then was there a will?
No will.
No will. So no will. Um, you got to figure out if the house is beneficiary or not, if it needs to go through a probate process. Beneficiary assets are when it just gets to pass directly to someone that's named as the beneficiary. So rights of survivorship would be she's the beneficiary. She gets 100% of the house. Tenants in common would mean that it has to go through probate. So his half of the property, and it's normally half, his half of the property has to go through probate, and his half goes to his heirs according to the way that the state sees his heirs. So there's
Okay.
no will. So the state's going to have a list of heirs in what order they get ownership. Okay.
Oh,
So you've got to figure that out first. I think
okay.
that worst case scenario, she owns half of the house, and she's going to have to sell, and the other half of the house is going to go to family members. And that's if it's tenants in common. Best case
Okay.
scenario is she has rights of survivorship, and it gets to go straight to her. Ownership goes to her. She gets to avoid probate with the real estate completely.
I got you. So that must be the case because because I'm in Florida and the sister is in California, and she ended up getting a lawyer and contesting the situation with the house. And how long does that process go? Because I'm a realtor. Like I'm not an investor or anything like that. I'm about to take the course so I can, put a little more options in my basket for people.
Mm-hmm.
But is
House is
this,
Florida, Matthew. Sorry, Matthew chatted in. I'm seeing
yeah,
chat. We're having a conversation. So um, it shouldn't take very long. It really depends on if the house needs to be in probate or not.
okay.
Rights of survivorship, the house doesn't need to be in probate. A ladybird deed, you're in Florida. Maybe it's a ladybird deed. It's probably not. That's basically it's named someone as a beneficiary. Otherwise, there was no will. That property, if it's not a ladybird deed or rights of survivorship, that property is going to have to go through probate, which means that she'll be able to sell after she gets approval from the court, and maybe after she's run her notice in the newspaper for a certain amount of time, but probably after approval from the court. So you're a month to 2 months out. It just depends on how much of a case the sister has. If
I
if the
got you.
sister has a case and they end up fighting for 6 months, can't sell the house for 6 months. If it gets
Right.
resolved quickly, the courts will give you approval within month to 2 months.
Okay. And then would her sister have any say in who gets to sell the house, or can she, you know, hire me to sell it?
Her sister gets to say if she's the executor
Uh,
or if she and the other family members end up owning half of the house.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So unfortunately, none of that, all of it goes back to the root of what kind of deed is it?
Yeah, true, true. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your help on that. And I haven't, pulled the trigger on taking the mastery course yet, but does it go over things like that?
It goes over things like that. There's also these calls where there's little nuance. That your question is very much a nuance that we don't cover that particular nuance in mastery at a deep level. We hit it, it goes over that, but there's always weird situations like this that you just got to come to this call and get the answer on.
Okay.
You're going to be
All
way
right.
more equipped by taking mastery, though. You're gonna be a lot.
Problem solved myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotcha. Well, I appreciate the help. I'm going to keep
Yeah.
making phone calls. Thank you.
Good job. Thanks, Drew.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yep. Hey guys, I'm butting in here with a quick ask. If you're getting value out of this coaching today, I want to invite you to check out my probate mastery trainings over at www.probatemastery.com. Probate Mastery is for you if you're an agent or an investor that wants to work with motivated sellers that have inherited real estate that they don't need and in many cases can't afford. These sellers are more appreciative, willing to trust your expertise, and less likely to nickel and dime you over commission or price. Why is that? They're often in the middle of a complex probate or an estate administration process, and this means that real estate is very often a burden on them, and they simply need the help. Inside of Probate Mastery, I teach you exactly where to source your leads, how to establish value, and offer your service in a way that quickly makes you, as the professional, your market's expert in the probate space. If you want to know a little bit more, go over to www.probatemastery.com. Hope to see you guys inside of the community. Thanks. Let's go to Gladys.
Good afternoon, Bruce. Thank you so much for doing this. We really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate you saying it.
My question is, I happen to know of a man that died close to about 2 years ago, and he had been married 3 times in his life. And for the first marriage, he had multiple children with that first wife. And then he moved on, got married to another woman, and has property in the Dallas area. That second marriage didn't work out, and so he got married to the third wife. When he died, he was with that third wife. Unfortunately, there was no will, and the wife that that he currently lived or that he lived with, the name is not on the deed, and she's making payments towards that house. Recently, there have been some code violations because the property is falling apart. And they reached out to me wanting to see if there's any advice that I could give them. I talked to a title company. Title company says, well, they need to reach out to an attorney, which they did, but she doesn't have the money to pay the attorney. So it's a messy, messy situation. The kids don't want anything to do with the woman. They're not getting along at all. And so I don't know if this is something that you can give me advice on how to help this lady.
Yep. No will. No, she's not on the deed. So no tenants in common, no rights of survivorship. That's not great for her. But she is married. So there's that. Definitely get an attorney, a probate attorney. So this needs to be a probate attorney. Is there equity in the property?
Yeah, I believe, yes, there is. They probably still owe about maybe about 70,000 on it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's equity.
What's the likelihood that it's going to sell and that you are going to get the deal?
Well, I know the lady very well. I just don't know how this is all going to pan out, being that there's code violations and the fact that she's not getting along with the children from the previous man. I mean, it's just, so, I mean, I could sell the house, but again, I don't know how to navigate through in order to make that happen.
Yeah. So this is where I'm going to play mediator between all the family members, or encourage them to hire a mediator if you don't want to play mediator. I have in cases like this, and essentially say, hey, I'm involved because I have a connection with this lady. I understand that there's probably some animosity, and so I'm going to stay neutral. Is that okay? Yeah. And then say, the first step in figuring out what to do is to get an attorney to get the property, to get probate started. That needs to start. We need to get probate started. It doesn't look like she has the money. Do one of you guys want to pay to get probate started? Or would it be okay with you if I brought an attorney to the family, to everyone involved, and either I cover a couple of hours to get the advice that's needed, and then you guys pay me back, or you pay the attorney when everything closes out. A lot of attorneys will go through probate with the expectation of getting paid later. So there's going to be attorneys that will open probate and manage it and not get paid until the end. It happens, especially if there's equity in the property. So you need to find an attorney that'll do that, or an attorney that says, "Hey, I'll give you guys 2 hours. Give me $200," and then Gladys, you, depending on your financial situation, I would just pay $200 and cover it for them as sort of a gesture of goodwill. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that the wife and the kids from that previous marriage are probably going to share equal ownerships of the estate. So everyone's going to, you said there's 3 kids. If there's no other family members that are directly involved, the estate and the equity in it's probably going to be split 4 ways after probate. That's my guess. But you do need an attorney. And if she can't afford it, see if the kids want to get an attorney. And if they can't or won't, then offer to bring them to someone that will charge after everything's closed, or offer to bring them to someone that'll just give like a 1 or a 2 hour consultation to tell everyone what their rights are and what to do.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm always looking for an excuse to call a new attorney. Always. I have attorneys, and I'll usually call the attorneys I have too. But I want an excuse to find a new attorney at every corner. So this is a great opportunity for you to get ahead of this and call 3 or 4 attorneys, briefly describe the situation and say, "Hey, I'm not sure what to have them do. Do you charge up front? Do you charge after the estate closes? Do you ever offer consultations for free or charge a third party?" And that's a great way to start a dialogue, and then go at the end of that conversation, go, "By the way, I run into things like this periodically. Do you think I could bring cases to you?" And what are they going to say? No? I mean, yeah, of course you can bring me cases. Listen, anyone that I send business to, I like to get to know their practice a little bit. Could I come by next week and meet you? Now you've got an appointment with an attorney, and you took this weird situation where I'm saying, take this to an attorney. You took this weird situation and you formed a couple of attorney relationships out of it that should refer you later at one point.
Wonderful. Love it. Thank you so much, Bruce.
Thanks, Gladys. Appreciate it. Hey, let's go to Nat.
Hey there. Thanks
Hey.
for everything, Bruce. Couple of quick things. First time talker, recent probate mastery graduate. One of the takeaways that I got from the course was 50% of the business would come from attorneys. So I called the attorney that handled my dad's estate and had like a 40-minute call and found out all kinds of details about different things that they have to do, like how to handle guns and, how to handle like pill bottles and all kinds of stuff. So just like you said in the course, it was welcomed, the conversation. So it actually worked, which is cool. So thank you for that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about prospecting, and kind of another takeaway I took away was, don't approach it as a real estate agent, and that's what I've been for 30 years, right? So I'm building a brand. I got Probate SC. I've got a website coming. I'm very much kind of trying to change my mindset to be a probate services offering. And I'm just wondering how wide of a gap you have between like your real estate business and the probate offer, because obviously you don't want to come out of the gate, "Hey, you're going to sell the house," but you want them to know you're in real estate. So is it kind of a blend? So that's kind of question number one. And then I wanted to ask you about voicemail messages. And then, anyway, those are my kind of first 2 questions.
Okay. So the gap, everyone's going to have that gap between probate services and real estate at a different place. For me, the conversation transition shifts um, once I um, once I get their initial responses to my first questions. Now, depending on how they answer a question, I might ask a bunch of other questions, a bunch, and talk for 10 minutes with them before we ever talk about real estate, maybe. But most of the time, I'll give them my initial question after I've presented my probate services. And just for everyone here, Nat, I haven't heard one of your calls. So for you and anyone else that's listening, when you describe your services, I want everyone to recognize they didn't ask for your call. They don't want a long pitch. So button your services up in a sentence or two. And one of the ways that I get away with doing that while still getting the idea across is say, I don't want to bore you with a million details. Can I ask? And then I'll go straight to my question.
Okay.
And so let's pretend that my question is, do you guys have everything handled at this point, or is there anything that maybe I could take off your plate? And they go,
Well, I don't know, I think we've pretty much got everything handled at this point, but I do appreciate your call.
absolutely. I'll tell you what, just in case anything changes in the future, I want to send you a little packet of some resources. I want you to do me a favor. Give me a call if anything ever comes up. Is that fair?
What kind of things might come up?
Oh, just different. No one ever asked that, but yeah, good question. Okay, so a lot of times it's things like property maintenance and security. It could be attorney questions. Sometimes there's needs for estate sales and personal property. It's just a lot of different things that the packet will cover. I kind of handle
Okay.
all. You've never done probate before, so this is where I might pull into another question and see if I can
Yeah.
start digging a little bit. But let's pretend. No, that's good. Yeah, send that over. Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah, sure. Send it along. Thanks.
Awesome. I'll also do an email. What's the best email?
It's my name at Gmail.
Okay, perfect. And before I let you go, some people also have assets involved in the estate. Things like
Mhm.
real estate, vehicles, things like that need to be retitled. Your assets, are they all kind of stay in the family, or are some of those going to end up being sold?
We got a couple houses for now. We still got to clean them out. I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I got to talk with the family members. But yeah, we do have some assets.
Okay. So a little too early to tell on that.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's the trigger right there. That's the flag. Those houses are going to sell.
Yeah.
Nat doesn't want to tell me. Maybe he doesn't know. More likely, he doesn't want to tell me. That's good enough for me. We're going to sell. Okay. Since I'm sending you a packet, you think it'd be okay if I dropped little ballpark estimate of what those might be worth in the packet?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay. So suddenly we've shifted. So now we're in an asset real estate conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
One of the things I'm thinking about, and I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, but I come from a prospecting, real estate wise to just try to get into the house, right?
Mhm.
Which is I think the goal, even if it's early. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd love to get in the house.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So would it make sense, or would it be, or have you tried like, oh, great, no problem. Sounds like you got everything covered. Did you, just real quick, I like to remind people, did you change the insurance coverage? Have you secured the house? Not likely that squatters would come, but do you have no trespassing signs on the house? That's a service that I can offer. You're out of state, aren't you? Would you like for me to go post one
Hmm.
for you, or
Hmm.
something like that? I mean, have you, if it's playing the long game and triggering reciprocity and building a relationship, should we be looking for those opportunities? Like, hey, I offer a free walk around. I can take pictures of the house. I can identify things that might be speed bumps along the way when the family gets ready to sell. Would you like for me to just stop by? Is it okay if I enter the backyard? That kind of thing.
I'm heavily basing this on how they're responding to my initial offerings,
Yeah.
resources, things like that. If they're like, yep, that's fine. Yeah, I've got to go. I'm not really going there. I'm trying to skip some of that and get to the asset question,
Yeah.
figure out what's going
Okay.
on, and then I'm gonna, based on what I think is gonna happen with the asset, I'll figure out if I could get a little estimate in the resources. If that answer is yes, then I try to get a preview. Now, if they're not short, get me off of this phone. Absolutely, I'm going into all that. But all those are kind of secondary and based on how they're reacting to your first offers.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
All of it should go to real estate though.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've got a direct mail campaign that I've designed, which is kind of like, okay, I am a realtor. Do I include my real estate logo on it, or is it all straight probate SC? I'm trying to kind of make those type of decisions. And I do have a call with you tomorrow, so I'll talk to you about it then.
Awesome.
But do you leave a voicemail message?
I do. Not every time though. I'll call. If I'm going to call you today and you don't answer, you're going to see my number at least 2 more times today. If you didn't answer on one of the previous calls, I don't want to call you and you not see my number again for a week. You're going to see it 3 times today. Generally speaking, when I do that, I'll leave a message on the last call. If you don't respond and I call you 3 more times in 3 days, not over 3 days, but let's say I leave you alone for a couple of days and then 3 days from now I call you again and you don't answer, and then I call you again that day and you don't answer, and then I call you again, I might skip the voice message that day. So I'm not like just message, but I'm testing to see what sort of formula might work on that person. Some people listen to messages, some people don't. Guys, if you call me, don't leave me a message because I'll see your text before I'll see your voice message in a year. Okay, some people are like that. Other people listen to every message. Some people screen for messages. So I'm mixing up what I'm leaving and when I'm leaving it for people based on what they've started to show me. All this is putting this puzzle together. What is this person's communication style? And I don't know in the beginning. So I got to try a bunch of different things.
And one last thing I saw in like 2 weeks ago, you mentioned Just Call. You use Just Call.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty easy phone system to like set reminders? And, I've been watching some demos on it. I'm assuming you like it if you use it.
Yeah, we like it. Lou, Lou's hand is up. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Lou. Can we set reminders and Just Call? Lou uses
I don't
it.
use that feature. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think you can. It's pretty robust. It's not a power dialer. I want to be really clear on that. It's just a phone management system. And I'm pretty sure that it can do that you can set reminders. If so, Lou, we got to start using it.
Yeah, I'm assuming you could like add tags and stuff like that. So, to sort. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks for taking all my questions. I appreciate everything.
Thanks. Okay, Lou, what do you have? And then I'll go to James and Brandy real quick. We got to button up within about 10 minutes. So, Lou, what came up?
Yeah, we're getting to the end of the hour. Just wanted to bring a couple of the questions in the chat from Deontay. In South Carolina, how would you find out if there's a right of survivorship, etc.?
It's on the deed.
After that, Brandy started asking her question.
Yep, it's on the deed. So is there a right of survivorship? Deeds are all public. Look at the deed and see whose names are on the deed and how they are listed. So generally, if there's one name on the deed, normally, unless there's a rider, then whoever the spouse might be, just gonna kind of rely on the will or rely on the state's order of succession. If it's rights of survivorship, it'll say joint tenants rights of survivorship or tenants in common. Tenants in common is where the surviving member on that deed only gets their portion of the property. But it'll be public record on the deed. All right. James.
Hey, Bruce. Okay, so I am with Nat, and I just I'm almost finished with the probate mastery course. It's like drinking from a fire hose, my friend. My goodness. and in the best way possible. So my question is, Chad's approach is vastly different than yours. It feels like
I wouldn't say
not
vastly, but yeah, it's a little
like let's
different.
not okay. I think I was that was a little bit of a strong word, but like it's pretty different in that like he's pretty like straightforward, and he's got like an agenda, and he's gonna take you through the agenda whether you like it or not. And so I was just wondering, how do you kind of harmonize the two? Because you're so much gentler, and like you kind of are much more kind of socially sensitive. Not that he's like just a bull in a china shop, because he's whip smart and he knows what he's doing as well. It's just, as a newbie, I'm trying to figure out, you know what I mean? Is there a happy medium, or are you kind of like doing this because this is more of a personality type thing?
A lot of it's personality type. Chad is extremely I wanted to say forceful. It's forceful is not right. Those of you that know Chad, he's a gentle soul in a lot of ways, but he's strong. And I go back to the story. I was in Chad's market, and we used to compete with each other. And my business partner was just like Chad. We would go on appointments, and when I was a new agent, we'd go on appointments, and he'd sign 100% of everyone that he went on an appointment with, not because they were sphere of influence and a warm lead, but because he'd say, here's the blue pen, sign right here, and they would just do it. And that's how I learned. And the first several times that I used that approach, people would tell me to get out of their house because I don't have that imposing presence. On the phone, you can't tell what someone's presence is. In person, you definitely can. So for me, I ended up having to be a little bit more nuanced. I also think it depends on your market. Southwest Virginia, you can be forceful. Hey, let me tell you what you need to do. People frequently will listen a little bit more. Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Duke, UNC country, they're a different personality type. You've got to navigate that call a little bit different. What I do want you to know is that the modified alternative approaches are going into probate mastery. So as fast as possible, putting alternative approaches into that course with alternative scripts, even though neither of us like scripts, we're on the same page there. I'm still putting alternative scripts just so you guys can practice. If you have been through the course, I know I already said this, please look back at the course for the new lessons that are being added. You'll know because they won't have a checkbox next to them. You haven't taken them. I've not put all the prospecting lessons in there. So I can be quite assertive as well, but I wait for the type of personality that I think needs an assertive person to tell them what to do. And that's not everybody. In my market, it's a minority of people. In my market, people need to be influenced. And I stop short of saying manipulated, but let me just go ahead and say manipulated in the best ways. I've got to influence them to go down the conversation paths that I want them to go down. I want them thinking it was their idea to talk about something when it was really my idea. Okay.
Got it.
So you got to go back through. We'll have the rest of those lessons in within a few days. They're going in now.
Okay. I actually saw yours pop up as you mentioned. I suddenly logged back in, and like there you were. You had like a dozen, kind of little videos in between. And just the last thing, I know we're out of time. It's just, is there a resource place in the Facebook group where there are like preferred vendors or anything area wise, or just to kind of get a head start on vendors that people recommend?
No, I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. I kind of prefer people building their own relationship, because part of the reason that you're going to have your vendors is because you want their referrals. And if you're using a resource from someone else in your market, they already have that referral source theoretically locked down. And you're not going to turn that person into a referral source if you didn't work with them kind of start to finish of getting them into your list. So I want you calling and building those vendor relationships and adding them to your list and building a relationship with the vendors. They are meeting these families before you many times. And there's no better way to build a relationship with families than have their vendor that they just used introduce you.
Good point. No shortcuts. Got it.
Sure, you can take shortcuts. You're not going to get referrals when you take shortcuts. So let's do some of the long cuts too. All right.
Understood.
James,
okay, thank you,
thanks,
sir.
Man. Hey, Brandy, what's up?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. So I answered or asked the question in the chat. I was just curious if you send texts. I've done sales for a really long time in different industries, and I find that a phone call, a text, and an email, those three combined, really have great effects because we are all so busy, especially on emails. We get things that push down, on text, things get pushed down. But I'm just curious in this particular space if you find that text does work. And if you do, what wording do you use to actually get the first response?
It's kind of weird. My text wording always changes. I don't send so many texts that I even have a script for text or remember what I said the last time. But I have texted a handful of times. I will tell you that texting is not as efficient as starting a conversation as the phone call is.
Okay.
Not by a long shot, but just like I was telling Nat a little bit ago, we don't know what that person's formula is, and I'm assuming that there are more people that have the formula of a phone call starting the relationship than text. There are more people like that. So after several attempts on the phone, I'm getting a pretty good picture that the phone's probably not going to start this relationship.
Mhm.
So voicemail. Hey, guess what? I left them a voicemail. It's been 2 days. They didn't respond. I don't think a voicemail is going to start the relationship. Now, it doesn't mean that I throw those phone calls and those voicemails out and never call and never leave a voicemail again. It means that now I'm going to add that extra ingredient into my campaign. I'm going to pop a text in. And language for a text might be, hey, I have no idea if I have the right number. I've called a couple of times in the last few days. I'm looking for Brandy.
Okay.
Might be something like that. I might say something a little different next time.
Sure.
I really don't pile a lot of text on people because normally if I call you 3 times today and then leave a voicemail and then in 2 days, let's say I call you again and I call you 2, 3 times, I get 40, 50% of everyone that I've reached out to answer or respond to me after seeing my number so many times in a short period of time. It's like, this is really important. They might not like talking on the phone, but this number keeps calling me. This has got to be, what's this about? Now, there's still a majority of people, 50, 60% of the population, that they're going to ignore your 6 calls in 2 days. But if I can turn that what is normally a 10 or 15% answer rate into 40 over a 2-day period of time that I'm calling, that's great. And the only way that I do that is go call, you don't answer, call in 15 minutes, you don't answer, call in 30 minutes, you don't answer, call in an hour kind of thing.
Okay.
Which means I'm getting through fewer leads on any day that I'm calling, but a lot of people are gonna talk to me that day.
Okay, that's a good strategy. Yeah, I like that. I just know when I see a certain phone number come through and from an area that I'm not familiar with, I'm not answering the phone. But I will read their text messages because, now your text message, if you leave, not text message, but text message or a voice message, because the voice message, I can see that it's typed out, right? In my voice
Well,
messages, and I
now,
can
yeah.
see what they've said. And so then there might be of interest moving forwards in that.
Voice message, you're absolutely right. It does transcribe now, and it didn't used to. So that makes a difference.
That's nice. It's a nice.
Another thing that I like to do if it's text is kind of tease what it's regarding. So not say what I'm offering, but tease what it's regarding. hey, I don't know if I have the right person. I'm looking for Brandy. This is about the estate of Jane Doe.
Okay.
Okay. So at least now it's like I'm the personal representative. I'm responsible for handling estate-based issues. I
I
kind of
might need
have
a
to
caller.
respond. Yeah. Yeah. So that would be a good text.
And then I have one more question, if you can.
For sure. Go for it.
When you say that you're going to send, okay, I'd like to send you something. Do you send that through? Do you say, may I have your email? May I have your address? What do you follow that up with?
Yeah. So the address, it depends on what I can see in my leads. Okay. I assume this address at 123 Main Street on your application, is that your address, or should I send it to the address for the estate, 456 Oak Street?
Okay.
That would
So
be
you actually do a physical piece of mail.
if I want to. Now, a lot of it's going to depend on what happens when I shift to real estate later. If I shift to real estate and they go, I don't know what house you're talking about. We don't have any property. I'll send an email. I'm not gonna be fiscally irresponsible and start sending a lot of expensive mail pieces and now I offered, so I'm gonna honor the resources. I offered, they said yes, I'm gonna honor it. But if I find out that there's absolutely no deal there to be had, I'm sending an email. So let's say 123 Main Street, that's a good one. I go perfect. And what's the best email? I never say, can I have an email? Would it be okay if I send an
Okay.
email? It's never that, never. Because half of the time, no, that's okay. I don't want that. I always, and what's the best email?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And then is your packet like an actual packet, or is it like a brochure piece of paper that I'm just thinking about mail and postage and all of that?
Sure. Little by little, you want to add to it. So you're probably going to start with a note card. Of course, that's not a packet with resources. You might start with a letter and a little brochure in it. Over time, you're going to put more into it and get to a point where it's a pretty heavy duty envelope, and some people even do boxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get your attention for sure.
Yeah. That's the bottom line. Think of
Okay.
it from a philosophy standpoint. You need to be the most credible person in that space in their life. And you're generally not going to get there if you're one of 10 people that sent a letter.
Okay.
Now, the letter might start a conversation, and I encourage people to send letters, but normally I need to start separating myself over the next couple of months from the competition, even though there's not a lot of competition. There really isn't. But there's some. And even if there's just 3 people and we all send a letter, well, we're on the same playing field at this point. There's nothing that's going to make this person use me over them.
But
In
you
3
are adding
months,
but you
I
are
will.
providing service of, here, I have, these relationships with these vendors. That does set you apart from just a
Correct.
regular letter. So that's really good.
It
One
does.
last question. I think you answered this in one of your calls that I saw on YouTube or something. Do you mention the passing, the deceased? Do you say anything about that?
Sometimes. It depends on how I feel. Okay. You guys, I'm a very feel-based person, and there are things that one of the funny little sayings that I have is, this is the process that I follow 100% of the time, except for when I don't follow it. Okay. And there are times when I just don't feel like it's right, or maybe I'm not in the right headspace to bring up the deceased. Normally, I'll say, hey, this is regarding the estate of Mrs. Doe. I think you're the personal representative or the executor. Do I have the right person? Yes. Listen, if that was a close family member, you have my condolences. Listen, could I take a fast second and maybe tell you what I was calling for?
Okay.
So if I am, it's going to be fairly early, or I might say, this is about the estate of so and so. Hey, was that a family member, or are you court appointed? That was a
Okay.
family member. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. And then
Okay.
I kind of move on. Now I don't go, oh gosh, I'm sorry. Well, let me tell you what I was calling for. You got to shift your tone gradually through
Sure.
a spectrum. But I'll periodically bring it up just to see what I'm dealing with and who the person was. But it's normally about the estate of someone.
I operate similarly.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Good. I think it's important.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys, to close out, I just want to let you guys know that if you are interested in probate mastery, if you're interested in getting certified, you're not already in, jump over to probatemastery.com. We've got several different free resources over there if you are brand new, never been around our community at all before. We've got a Facebook group for everyone, Estate Professionals Mastermind. If you want to just get certified, the class is currently probably sitting in the 19-hour of on-demand training, including probably 4 to 5 hours of Q&A time. So there's getting close to about 15 hours of actual instructional time in there, broken into bites. So you don't have to watch 15 hours start to finish. You can take a 10-minute lesson here and a 30-minute lesson there. Bite it up. It covers everything from the probate process so that you don't sound ignorant when you talk to families, to marketing, to prospecting, to how your appointments are run, to what type of services you offer, and everything in between. So that's over on probatemastery.com. And next week, we are relaunching our group coaching program, which is definitely an upgrade. If anyone's interested in the group coaching program, on the homepage, there's a place where you can book a discovery call, and we can talk to you about kind of bundling everything together inside of coaching and workshops that we're having multiple times every week. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.